Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Rule Well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. New in the gospel, broad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. This is just another lesson that says 48 hours that changed everything. The dollar era is over. Trump's great reset is here. And it's not Trump's great reset, okay? This is the elites pulling the string, all right? The elites, who you call the Illuminati or the globalist or the Zion, whatever you want to call these devils, okay? This is their doing because this is the time of the New World Order when they want to set up their proverbial enterprise and enslave anybody that seems to come up against it, or to eliminate anybody that wants to come up against it. But first, they got to shut down these systems, that allow people to have convenient lifestyles. Like grocery retailers, like you're not going to be able to go to particular stores based on your social credit system or based on your social credit score. Or you're not going to be able to have certain providers, or they may give you an allowance on a monthly basis, and when you go through that allowance, then basically you just pretty much shit out of luck. All right. But first, they're starting with the collapse of this dollar. They're starting with the collapse of this U.S. dollar, which is gonna cause civil unrest, in my humble opinion. Because one thing about in America, these Babylonians, one thing they do not play with is their bread and circuses and their money. All right, bread and circuses mean food, their sports venues and their money. And if you want to see the quickest form of a revolt, start taking people's money away without them having access to it. Then you'll get the reaction that you're looking for. They don't really give. You got ICE agents harassing people in the streets, but even then, that hasn't really been enough to rouse them fully up. So next step of the process is to collapse the dollar. Collapse the dollar, put the squeeze on everybody, then, you will get people to do what you want to do. You control the food, you control the people. All right, because these people, they don't want to go a day without eating or feeding their kids. So Esau got them right in the trick bag, man, and that's pretty much what this man is talking about when they collapse the dollar, all right? So I got a couple of videos I want to play. Of course, we're going to get the precepts, but, redacted, which I believe they're juiced in. I believe they're an insider. I believe this dude, Clayton Morris, used to work for one of those TV broadcasting stations. I don't know if it was CNN or MSN, one of them, but regardless of it, man, just like Tucker Carlson, these people are controlled opposition, because how are they able to operate with complete immunity without getting penalized for what they're saying? Because they're paid opposition, which proves the point we've been making all along, because they're paid to give you pockets of truth. And before these men surfaced, we was telling you about these things, and now you got the left hand confirming it. Okay? Scriptures say that then thou shalt know that there have been a prophet among them. And we are the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, whether you believe it or not. So anyway, without further delay, fair use, fair use. Here we go.
Files dumped on us, which are disgusting and disturbing to say the least. We also on Friday saw the biggest one-day drop in the precious metals market in history. And right now, as I'm recording this on this Sunday morning, we are watching something huge happening, a massive arbitrage happening between the Chinese precious metals markets, London precious metals markets, U.S. precious metals markets. Right now, gold is the indicator that a full-blown reset is upon us. Look over here at the U.S. ready to bomb Iran. Look over here at these new Epstein files. But if you look over here, there's something massive happening that's resetting everything right now. So I want to connect the dots for you today with 4 key parts of this story as I see them, okay? 4 key parts. But first, some context here, because on Friday, President Trump nominated Kevin Warsh as the new Fed chairman. And yes, there's a lot of baggage that comes with this guy. Heck, the guy's in the freaking Epstein files. Couldn't have picked another guy? Anyway, I'm going to do a deep dive on him soon, but not in today's video. But just so you understand, he hates stimulus money, this Kevin Warsh. He hates stimulus. He hates quantitative easing. He voted against it. He thinks correctly that it pushes inflation higher. Could have used him during the Biden years. He also changed his mind on interest rates. He used to believe that higher interest rates were good for the U.S. dollar, not any longer. He also believes the Fed shouldn't hold this much debt on its balance sheets. He wants the Fed to slash its balance sheets, which will also lead to lower interest rates. So this is a huge move. And this move,
And it's all controlled, man, because when they dumped silver 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, they dumped it, and then you had websites that had a limit on how much you can buy, and then certain websites were just glitchy as hell. You couldn't even buy anything. Gold was $5,500 an ounce. Now I checked last night, it's back down to, I think it's $4,700 an ounce, because they dumped it, but it's still pretty high. Silver went back down to $70 an ounce. That's still relatively high, because when I checked last time, silver was literally $24, $25, $26 an ounce. And this was the beginning mid last year. I want to say around between January and April of last year, silver was roughly $25 an ounce. 2-3 months ago, silver jumped up, and I believe it made it all the way up to like maybe $120 an ounce, which silver has never been that high from my knowledge, which proves that there's a collapse. All right. And they're dumping everything, because they're getting ready to switch the system off and go digital.
though, means that we are effectively in a new dollar era right now. The globalists are terrified of us owning any kind of precious metals, dumping US dollars. So everything is changing right now before our eyes. So along with this new dollar era, we are in a new petrodollar era. And this is important because if you're paying attention to the last cabinet meeting, the United States is now the largest producer of oil and natural gas in the world. This means the new petrodollar structure isn't sitting in Saudi Arabia anymore. It's now in the United States. And the trifecta here that just happened is a new plan for the US dollar at the Fed, the precious metals market dropping like a bomb thanks to speculators dumping their holdings and everyone taking profits, and then the US control over the petrodollar, energy policy. So all of this just happened basically on Friday. The petrodollar system was controlled by OPEC, were the source of endless Middle Eastern wars. This has now changed, meaning no one can shake Washington down on energy anymore. We produce more than you do.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
That makes every American 1,000 times safer as long as we don't continue to do Israel's bidding and bomb Middle East countries. We'll see what Trump does there. And if you really want to make America safe, stop listening to that demon Netanyahu and actually bring our troops home out of the Middle East, 50,000 of them back.
That's not going to happen because he's a puppet and he has orders to listen to him. Okay, he's the elite's hype man. They set up guys like Trump to do the bidding of Israel, man. All the presidents have done the bidding of the small hats. They all have done the bidding of Amalek, man. Okay?
The U.S., we've got our own problems here at home to deal with. But the neocon Fox News crowd would love nothing more than for Trump to kiss Netanyahu's ass and do whatever he wants.
Okay, let's bring in former Secretary of State and CIA Director Mike Pompeo, a Fox News contributor.
But one thing at a time.
And it's crazy because they said, bingo, we're still paying interest for World War I. And because that's true, because during the First World War, they said that the taxes was to fund the war and it was just voluntarily. But then they never gave you the money back. And on top of that, World War II was even a bigger debt because prior to World War II, you had the Great Depression. You see, so they collapsed everything and then they went into another World War years later. And before you know it, now everybody's on a credit-based system. This dude literally then stole the wealth after they took the British pound off the market. I believe the British pound was backed by gold. And then they stole all the gold and hoarded it. And now they put you on a fiat system, on a credit-based system, which was designed to crash, because that's another way of basically saying, fuck you. They give you money with no value to it and put you on a fiat system, a credit-based system, and told you that, well, this is legal tender, it's accepted. And people believed it now. This is why precious metals are at an all-time high. You can't have access to it because you can't afford it. So they played you people, man. All right? As a matter of fact, that's James, the 5th chapter. Let's get this here, James 5. James 5, and let's start at verses 1. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, and weep and howl for your miseries that should come upon you." Who's the rich man who is talking about? He's talking about the elites of the society, man. Right? He says globalists, but he knows who the hell they are. Okay, he's not going to call them out by name. He's not going to say the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or the DuPonts. He's not going to say that because ultimately, they cutting this motherfucker's paycheck, man. Well, not them directly, but they work for lobbyists and institutions and corporations that's being ran by lower level luminaries, and they're told, look, this is what you bring out. All right, so he would never mention the Rothschilds by name, and even if he did mention the Rothschilds by name, he's not gonna equate them with. He's not gonna go in too much detail. He's not gonna elaborate on it. All right, it says here, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Yeah, this is a corrupted system. This is why shit is so expensive, man. The dollar is weak. They said the dollar's only worth 7 cents. How the hell is that even possible? 7 cents. How the hell is that even a sustainable world currency? You know, because you had OPEC nations, which, you know, had deal with America through the Saudis and petrol, which they call, you know, liquid gold. But now, you know, they're cutting them off, man. So America's big thing of going to Venezuela and trying to take Greenland is because they need to have power and leverage over these other nations, man. This is why they're coming to the table and they wanting these other nations to do deals, because America needs to remain king, or they need to remain the creme de la creme of the nation. So as long as they can have leverage on the nations using military force, then they good. No matter how weak the dollar is. But this is why they're dumping treasuries, because they know that it's not a sustainable dollar. They know it's not a sustainable form of currency. You know, they're like, wait a minute, you're not being backed by precious metals. You're using petrol, which is oil, to sustain your economy, and your economy is going to smoke day by day. And you outsource everything. You have no manufacturing here. Talking about bringing back manufacturing jobs. You ain't gonna pay no American no $20 an hour to work in no sweatshop, bro. Okay, you got to pay high salaries, and even then, you got to see if nations like China, Iran, they don't want to do any deals with you like that. You know, so they got to collapse this system. He has to collapse it, because where it's gonna go? The dollar's worth 7 cents today. Then they took the money off the gold standard. They stole the money and let you people with the bill. This is why we always paying taxes, man. This is why you have a reoccurring billing cycle, because you don't own shit. You're utilizing and renting a service. You're supposed to own your own shit. Okay, it said that Abraham was rich in silver and gold, cattle, land. That's the real riches, not some greenbacks that's barely you can wipe your ass with. And Esau know it. It says your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them should be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. It says ye have heaped together treasures for the last days. Yeah. All right. And this is all coming back to bite Esau in the ass, because eventually he's going to go to war behind his felon economy. That's the only way. Okay, the elites even said it. They said that the time to buy is when blood is high in the streets. Never let a good crisis go to waste. They going to war. Okay, whether people think so or not, they're going to war, and they're going to have to bring back some type of a draft. For all you YNs and Pookies and PPs and PJs and all you niggas out there, hey, you want to slide on your own ops? Hey, you finna slide on a whole nother op across the water, man. You finna go slide on an op in a different world. And you gonna get your ass done in bad. You know, you weak ass jakes out here. You jakes like to beat up on your own people. But when it comes to dropping the body that actually mattered, then you niggas bitch up. That's why you niggas gonna die, man. All right, and we just gonna say it. We ain't gonna feel bad for none of you Poogies and Ray Rays and Taquishas and Consuelas. We ain't gonna feel bad for none of you ninjas. All right, as far as I'm concerned, you in the goddamn way anyway. You need to be moved out the way so Yahweh Shai can push us to the forefront so we can rule this world in righteousness, man, because this is some straight bullshit. You know? It says, and behold, the hires are the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is kept back by fraud. Okay, yeah, this system, this money is fraudulent, man. Yeah, you may get a paycheck every week or bi-weekly or every month, but is it really sustaining you? Hell, wages have been stagnant over a couple of decades now, while the price of living is constantly rising. People are noticing, man. Used cars, 24%. It's crazy, man. Apartments then went up 15, 20%. The price of food has gone up. Like, why am I paying $18 for avocado wrap, man? At a food chain. That's at a food chain, man. That's not even real food, probably. And I've watched these. I've watched stagflation. I've watched shrinkflation. I've seen it all, man. Like, it's this one place called 54th Street. eat at them way back in the day, maybe 10 years or so ago, when they chains started popping up. Well, I'm pretty sure they've been around for some time, but I remember 10 years ago, I used to go there, and they had an extensive happy hour menu. You know what I'm saying? They had a $5, $6 happy hour menu. And I mean, you getting the best of the best. You getting wraps, you getting these chicken plates of not, you know, you're getting avocado, and they give you a great abundance. You know, and as of recently, I want to say maybe a year ago, they really started cutting down on the portions they give people, but the prices are going up. Like, why the hell is somebody paying $15 for a smash burger? You know, and it comes with, and then they don't even load you up on the potatoes no more. It's skimpy now. You know, paying $12 for some mott sticks. Like, who the hell wants to pay that? That's ridiculous, man. But that's inflation. And it's shrinkflation because they're not giving you as much no more. It's almost depressing to shop for food. Like I was, man, I had a moment yesterday. I was thinking, I was looking, I was like, okay, I got to go meal prep. I got to get this food X, Y, and Z, but I'm stuck. It's like, damn, what the hell do I buy? Everything is, you know, is high as hell, and the quality of the food has went to shit. You know, you buy chicken breast, you get, you know, sweet potatoes, you know, because, you know, refined carbs and shit, you know, you got to cut out certain carbs. Like potato is a good carb, you know, but starches, that's a good starch, a good carb. But like shit like chips, cookies, and juice, you got to stay away from that, man. That has no nutrients in it. But like actual food, whole foods, you know, you got your legumes, your lentils, you know, you got your chicken, you got your beef, your turkey, you know, you got your whole wheat breads, which I try to stay away from wheat bread. Only bread I can really eat is whole grain or sourdough. Other than that, you try to stay away from that shit. But fruits, vegetables, everything is tainted. You know, buy some lamb chops. That shit. Let's not talk about how much lamb then went up. You know, so it's like trying to meal prep. You may get you 3 portions of a meal, and you may pay $200 a week for a basic serving. Like that's crazy work. You know. That's why this man is getting ready to go down. He has to. He's got the world in a grip. But it says, which is kept of you by pride, crieth in the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Yeah. You know, we're tired of working. We're tired of, like, you got to go to work and work for some fucking female supervisor that's on a time of the month, and she's dictating choices based on her emotional state. You know, you don't want to work under that. We don't want to work in these hellish conditions no more, man. I don't want to work with a bunch of soy boys or a bunch of fucking feminists or simps, man. I don't want to work around those people. You know, the shit is old. It's stupid. And it says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and have been wanton, and ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. It said, ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. He can't resist you because the scriptures say, once again, and I'm going to repeat it, we have to go to Esau for the one of all things. All right. So let's play a couple more.
And just so you understand what happened on Friday, with everyone selling off silver and gold, I mean, a few weeks ago, the U.S. stole Venezuela's oil. It's ours now. China was pissed. They are one of Venezuela's largest oil partners, settling these transactions in the...
You're absolutely right. They stole it like they always do. They steal everything else. But the minute somebody threatens their sovereignty, then all of a sudden now you're the biggest terrorist. Now you got to go. This man got to go, man. He's doing too much.
Chinese yuan instead of U.S. dollars. Well, America swoops in, kidnaps Maduro, steals their oil, kills hundreds of people, by the way, which didn't get any headlines. China then responds, limiting silver export controls. Countries and banks panic. People buy up precious metals like crazy because now the United States and China relationship is heading for disaster. But then things suddenly turned around. The U.S. and China calmed down. Things started to get back to normal. Trump and Xi Jinping are going to actually spend the autumn together, maybe holding hands and walking amongst the leaves. I don't know. Like they like each other again. So then Friday, it all comes to a head, right? Oh, things are calming down between the U.S. and China. All these leveraged bets and Wall Street speculators who overbought on the China tension, they bought tons of silver and gold. They suddenly decide to take profits, dumping it. The markets tumble. But normal people like me just doubled down and bought more silver and gold on Friday. Hey, buy the dip when these idiots play this speculation game. I don't want to have anything to do with those morons. Which brings me to the 4 main points that I wanted to make that a lot of people are.
Yeah, you can afford to buy that, but the average person can't afford it. Who the hell got $4,000 laying around to just go buy up gold all the goddamn day? And even then, when a collapse comes, that gold ain't gonna do too much of nothing because who's gonna barter with it? Nobody. What is gonna sit in my house and look pretty? I'm trying to eat. I can't go to a retailer and use gold because the markets are digital now. You know. So the reality of it is, if you own a credit-based system, silver and gold is really, I mean, it's a good commodity to have because it is real money. But who the silver and gold dealer, who the brokers out here for real? How you gonna sustain that? Okay, people gonna opt in for more valuable resources, meaning that okay, you got bread for candles, for water, for her, for this, for that. You know, okay, I got these blankets for these house slippers, etc. People gonna barter with necessities, man. Silver and gold may get you good through retail, but they gonna come and take that, man, and it ain't gonna mean nothing at the end of the day. All right, the scriptures say that silver and gold, they should not delight in it. Matter of fact, this is Zephaniah 1, and I'm gonna start at verses 10, and it says, and it should come to pass in that day, says Yahweh, that there should be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. All right, your societies, your systems, these global markets, these stock, which they're all being manipulated, by the way, but eventually they're gonna come to a halt, and they're gonna bring in this mark of the beast system. This is the plan. All right. And hey, the way it's going, we may see that shit this year, Lord's will, you know, but we're going to see it in the near future because cash is not going to be king. Some people say, well, hold on to your cash and this and that, and it may be able to sustain you for a little bit during a collapse. But after a while, when these retailers go online digital, you ain't going to be able to go to Walmart or Amazon and say, look, I got $100 in FRNs. Let me go ahead and get this jar of pickles from you. They gonna look at you like, nigga, you stupid. Where's your chip? Show us your hand. Swipe your hand. That's how that's gonna go down. But it says, how is ye inhabitants of Mektesh? It says, for all the merchant people are cut down, and all they bear silver are cut off. Okay, yeah. So the silver and gold ain't gonna mean shit. And it says here, and it should come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles and punish the men that are settled on their leaves. That's you false prophets out there, you men that's idle, that say in their hearts, the Lord will not do good, neither will he do evil. This is you dudes that don't speak on a prophecy. Okay, you had one particular individual that stated that there was not going to be any Jacob's trouble. And you had the pastor pressing him on it. And lately he changed his stance. But even then, Jake was pushing that, well, there ain't going to be no Jacob's trouble because they're too invested in this world. And you got to thank Yahweh Shai for putting you through certain situations to keep you uninvested in this place, man. Because if you hate this place enough, you ain't going to invest in it. That's why the Lord gives us just what we need. Because if he was to let us run loose, he ended up getting a contract, a multi-million-dollar contract. Jake wouldn't know what to do with himself. Jake be out here buying private jets and skinny dipping with fucking foreign chicks, man. The Lord, he knows exactly what he's doing. And it says, therefore, their goods should become booty. A booty in their houses of desolation, and they should also build houses and not inhabit them, and they should plant vineyards and not drink the wine thereof. Yeah, because, I mean, shit, look at all this real estate going up. A lot of these apartments that they're building for this new FIFA Cup shit, you know, ain't can nobody afford that. And it ain't for you Jakes anyway, because the average apartment in Kansas City downtown is starting about $1,400 a month. You know, if you got the money, then hey, kudos to you. But most people only make an average of between $20 and $25 an hour, which was a decent salary maybe 10 years ago. And you make it $25 an hour, that ain't really cutting the bill. I mean, it's better than nothing, but, you know, it's still like, oh, shit, I'm not making any money because taxes done went up. Certain people still filing exempt, you know, just to see a little bit of money, and we're still struggling. And it reads, verses 18, it says, neither their silver nor gold should be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land should be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he should make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So when those missiles come, it's going to shit anyway. So just allow it to do this shit circling the drain. Revelation 6, and I'm going to start at verses 5. And it reads, and it says, when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that set on him here a pair of balances in his hand. Okay, like the yoke of iron is slavery. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see that thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And we're here. Okay, because now a day's wage is literally going to cost you a lifetime to get a basic good. An entire 2-week salary will basically be equivalent for a loaf of bread and maybe a carton of eggs, maybe some milk if you're lucky. You know, so if you bring in home $2,000 every 2 weeks or whatever, that's roughly $1,000 a week. Shit, that's your grocery bill for the day. You know. So it's getting bad, and it's going to continue to get bad.
Are missing in this whole story. Number one, Trump wants a weaker U.S. dollar, and that's why I'm buying as much silver and gold as I can get my hands on.
Well, you know, I'm a person that likes a strong dollar, but a weak dollar makes you a hell of a lot more money.
What people don't understand is that Trump doesn't want to push up higher inflation or debase the currency. That's a conspiracy theory. He wants a weaker currency because the U.S. now controls the world's energy markets. And he's trying to turn the U.S. into a manufacturing hub and massive exports to other countries instead of us importing everything from China and Vietnam and India. Of course, all of this might blow up in his face. I don't know. Might be the dumbest move ever, right? Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what he's doing. But certainly the Clinton, Bush, Obama era of shutting down all of our manufacturing destroyed our country. So what choice did we have? Does he have? In order to compete with China and India, he believes we need a weaker U.S. dollar, a weaker currency, just like the Chinese yuan is weaker. And India's rupee, which is basically in the toilet as we speak.
Okay, so this is good on that. Let's look at this video here.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. Today is Wednesday. I don't know what the date is. How about that? It's like the 28th, I think. Whatever. Here's the deal. For the past 2 years, I've been warning you to get your money out of the bank. Okay? If you've got a 401k or an IRA.
And we just read in Zephaniah that ain't gonna matter. Yeah, you could get your money out the banks, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but at the same time, I mean, when it's going to collapse anyways, it's like, okay, what are you going to do? But see, like I said, things are going to go offline here, and they're going to put them on this digital track. And then before you know it, you're going to have to get that chip. But even in the midst of that, there's going to be chaos because they got to bring the squeeze first. All right, this is why they got these Gestapo troops getting ready to go to all 50 states and these cities to foil unrest, because once they collapse the system, they're going to need troops in place to coil civil unrest. And those of us that don't accept the mark of the beast, they're going to be chartered off to these detention centers, man. And Lord knows what happens at that point, which we know what will happen. But, you know, for the elect's sake, we going to be good. And they not going to get all of us, man. So, I mean, but you people out there, you cook.
It's all ones and zeros that can easily be wiped out overnight. My bank is Chase Bank. And the other day, everybody's balances went to zero again. That's called practice run. And it's not the first time they've done that. Well, now gold has officially passed $5,000 an ounce. Silver has passed $100 an ounce. It just kills me. But here's the deal. All sorts of gold and silver dealers are putting limits on how much you can buy or how much you can sell. So right now, before you are shit out of luck, get your money out of the bank, have Goldco, rip it away from the bank and turn it into physical gold and silver and have it sent to your house, because you're going to lose everything. They're setting it up right now. This is literally not coming. It's happening any day now. You could wake up and gold will be at 20,000, and now your return on your 401k or IRA is going to be that much less. So the clock is ticking. You're almost out of time here. I mean, I'm dead serious. For the people that did this at $1,700 an ounce, you're welcome. For those that didn't, do it now, or you're just going to have nothing and you're going to be stuck in the social credit system, which, if you're listening to me, you're not ranked too highly, if at all. That's a fact. At any rate, I'm sorry I'm making this on my phone, but it is what it is. It's all I got right now.
In China, tens of thousands of young people are suddenly homeless, not because of money, but because the system erased them.
Imagine a society where everything you do, everything you say, and everything you buy is controlled and evaluated by the authorities. This is what the Chinese Communist Party calls social credit.
By using the mechanism of social credit, we'll be able to establish a blacklist of people and create a system of punishment that will be based on a scientific theory. These punishments will serve as a whip to rebuild moral values. Our society needs it.
The country's social credit system decides who's trustworthy, but if you're blacklisted, it's game over. Your WeChat Pay stops working, you can't receive your salary, can't buy food, can't even book a train ticket. It's like being alive, but digitally. Many are now sleeping in the streets, cut off from everything. Jobs, housing, even communication. All because one app, one algorithm.
Yeah, and that's how that's the system. That's the system they building around Palantir. Everybody gonna be microchipped. Social credit. There you go. You know, it's all about control, man. It's all about control. I'll come back to that video. That's actually a good lesson, another lesson. I'm going to play this last one, then I'm going to end it.
Electric nail clippers have become this convenient. Simply place your nails inside for smooth trimming.
Okay.
This is Dabu7, and it looks like JP Morgan has been caught in the act, and the timing is everything here, of clearing the shorts, dumping the shorts at the bottom of this dip precisely. The numbers are there. You can check this all for yourself. And for people that are thinking, oh, there's no way a big bank would get caught manipulating the market, well, it's happened many times before. I've got one article up here just back, I believe it's 2020, where JP Morgan had to pay $920 million, almost $1 billion, because they were caught manipulating the precious metals market. They, of all people on the planet, they were able to execute within seconds. Within seconds, they caught the exact bottom of this dip to get rid of all the shorts. Silver was at one point $121. It dropped all the way down to $74. And then this is where they unload. And you can see it all right here on the graph. And there's paperwork. You can go to the site and you can see, just as you can see down here on this image, a little bit better, it lists the price where they executed, and it shows clearly that this was JP Morgan Chase that executed this and did this at this exact time in this window, which is unprecedented for that kind of timing. So they knew. And these are guys that have been busted in the past manipulating the market before. And here we have caught them unloading right at the bottom of all this. So you would have to wonder, if they're willing to do this, would they have set shorts at the top of this when they rode this whole thing down? Yeah, you're going to find that as well. And it seems like they don't care at this point. With the Epstein files getting dumped and Jamie Dimon's name getting pitched around there, talk of him retiring and all these other things. Interesting timing for sure, but this is big time right here. This dump was within a minute. I was watching this live when it all unfolded, and this lasted like seconds. It didn't last long at all, the bottom. And at the exact time they executed this. On December 2nd of 2025, U.S. banks altogether had 17,838 silver futures short. That's 89 million ounces. And at $121, that was 10 billion in short notational. So they ran this whole thing down. Stops got clipped, longs got liquidated, and they were able to make this major move. Now the market's about to open up. By the time some of you see this, it'll be opened back up. Seeming that they ran it down and they offloaded, it could extend a bit of a dead cat bounce from here. If others are going to see this as an opportunity to try to unload as well, you may see more down action. I mean, at this point, a top's been put in, and traditionally, bear markets last quite a long time. This may open up better buy windows for silver and gold. If it does, I'd take advantage because they may not last long. And then again, when the markets open, this thing could run and go bananas. And we've got a lot of catching up to do in terms of Shanghai. I think they are literally almost double. They're trading at like double the price out there than what the American rigged paper market is trading at. So, again, JP Morgan, busted in the mix here. I'll leave links. Join me for the live stream covering this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Tabu 77.
So there you go, man. They got caught manipulating the markets, JP Morgan. It's not surprising. Proverbs 28, and I'm going to start at 3. It says, a poor man that oppresseth the poor is like a sweeping rain which leaveth no food. Yeah, Esau is really a poor man. All right, and he's oppressing Jake the poor. It says here, they that forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. They don't keep the law. Okay, they despise the laws of the Heavenly Father. It says, evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things. And we understand all things through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And this is why we are able to sit out here and we are able to condemn Esau and tell him his fate, because we understand the judgment and they don't. But better is the poor that walketh in his uprightness, better than he that is perverse in his ways, though he be rich. Yeah, Esau is rich, but he's perverse. All right. Verse 8. He that by usury and unjust gain increaseth his substance. And this is all usury. Taxes, you know what I'm saying, loans, collateral, all that shit is usury, man. He should gather for him that will pity the poor. So eventually, all the riches you stole, we getting all that back and then some. Okay, you're going to know what it's like to be a lower class citizen in the kingdom of heaven. We got you in slavery and we putting you damn devils in an unfavorable position just to be destroyed after your 1,000-year sentence, man. So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. The Lord's will you were edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.